Have you ever felt like someone close to you smiles with their mouth but wounds with their words? Like you're being drained, not by life, but by a person sitting right next to you? They say they care, they act like a friend, but deep down, something feels wrong. And no matter how much you try to shake it off, the unease lingers. This isn't paranoia, it's your intuition screaming. In this video, we're diving deep into 10 evident signs that there is an evil person next to you. And not just through modern psychology, but through the iron lens of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics weren't soft. They trained for truth, for clarity, for inner strength when the world turned dark. And now it's your turn. Because evil doesn't come cloaked in shadows, it often arrives in daylight, disguised as advice, concern, or charm. But once you see it, you can never unsee it. And once you name it, it loses its grip. So if you're ready to reclaim your clarity, protect your peace, and finally trust what your gut's been trying to tell you, watch until the end. This isn't just a warning, it's a weapon. Use it. Number 1, constant manipulation. You're in a conversation that feels normal, maybe even warm, but something doesn't sit right. The compliments are just slightly too calculated. The concern seems just a little too convenient. You walk away unsure, not of them, but of yourself. That's not confusion, that's manipulation, and it's working. Seneca once said, "He who has many fears also has many things to manipulate." This isn't just a philosophical insight, it's a battle map. People who sense your insecurities don't always offer support. Some see opportunity. They don't need to raise their voice or make demands. All they need is access to your self-doubt. I once worked closely with someone who, at first, felt like a mentor. He gave generous praise in public, made me feel seen, supported, even admired. But over time, things shifted. Quiet comments behind the scenes, minor issues blown out of proportion. Praise turned into subtle critique, not to help me improve, but to make me question my competence. And it worked. I started wondering if maybe I really was falling short. When I finally confronted him, he stayed composed. "I'm just trying to help," he said. But the damage had been done, not to my work, but to my confidence. That's how manipulation works. It doesn't break you outright. It wears you down until you voluntarily hand over your judgment to someone else. These people don't want to empower you. They want to own you, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. And the scariest part? They do it while pretending to be your biggest supporter. They present dependency as loyalty, submission as wisdom, and they call it love, friendship, mentorship, anything but what it really is: control. But Stoicism gives you the one thing they can't stand: independence of mind. A truly virtuous person will lead you toward clarity, not confusion. They will encourage your growth, not your dependence. Anyone who demands your obedience while undermining your identity is not guiding you, they're using you. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You don't need to expose the manipulator. You just need to stop being movable. When you no longer react, when you no longer seek approval, you become immovable. And they lose all leverage. Because the real power isn't in learning to play their game better. It's in walking away from the table altogether. And when you do, something incredible happens. You stop attracting manipulators and start drawing in people who respect your strength. Number 2, a mask of charm. You've met them before. The ones who enter with effortless grace, steal the spotlight without trying, and make you feel like the only person in the room. Their eyes lock in, their words drip with sweetness. It feels real, until it doesn't. That's not authenticity, that's performance. And you're not a guest in their world, you're a target. Epictetus didn't sugarcoat it. Appearances, no matter how dazzling, often hide the truth beneath. That's the danger of charm. It blinds you before it binds you. When someone uses charm to connect, it uplifts. But when they use it to control, it disarms. It makes you lower your guard while they build their influence. These people are masterful. They don't demand your trust, they seduce it. They learn your weaknesses, your hopes, your wounds. Not to protect them, but to exploit them. They don't care who you are. They care what they can extract. your time, your energy, your loyalty. And when you've served your purpose, they discard you without hesitation or remorse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And their soul, it's stained with manipulation, entitlement, and self-interest. Watch how they treat the unnoticed. Watch how they act when praise isn't pouring in. That's who they really are, not the charming mask they wear when the spotlight's on. I knew someone like that, an artist of attention. Every compliment, every smile, every "I'm always here for you" felt genuine, until people stopped giving back. Then the mask cracked. Affection turned into absence. Praise turned into poison. That's when I realized he wasn't kind. He was strategic. So how do you escape their grip? You stop romanticizing the surface and start studying the patterns. Real people show up even when it's inconvenient. Real loyalty isn't transactional. If someone's charm fades the moment you stop giving, it was never connection. It was a contract you didn't know you signed. Stoicism doesn't teach you to fear others. It teaches you to see through them, to recognize that truth doesn't wear a costume, that integrity doesn't need applause, that real strength is quiet, consistent, and unshakable, exactly what manipulators fear most. Here's your call to action. Stop chasing charisma. Start demanding character. Stop surrendering your peace for polished words. Start standing firm in your truth. Charm might win crowds, but it will never earn your respect unless it's backed by values. Never forget, the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one smiling while hiding a knife behind their back. Number 3, lies without conscience. Some people lie the way others breathe, automatically, effortlessly, and without the slightest twitch of guilt. They don't just avoid the truth, they engineer fiction. Not because they're confused, not because they're mistaken, but because lying works, and they've made it their strategy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it isn't right, don't do it. If it isn't true, don't say it." But to the morally bankrupt, truth is not sacred. It's expendable. These people treat honesty like a luxury, something they only use when it benefits them. They craft stories not to communicate, but to control. Their goal isn't understanding, it's dominance. I once knew someone who painted herself as a hero in every room. She told stories that made jaws drop, about saving projects, rescuing teammates, taking the hits no one else would. But when you peeled back the layers, none of it held up. Emails, reports, timelines. They told a very different story, and when called out, she didn't apologize, she flipped the script. "You must have misread," she said. "That's not what I meant." Gaslight, redirect, escape. It was a performance, and we were the audience. That's the blueprint of a conscious liar. Create confusion, inject doubt, stay untouchable. Their lies aren't reckless, they're rehearsed. And the more you doubt yourself, the more they gain ground. They don't just deceive you, they warp your sense of truth. That's not just dishonesty, that's psychological warfare. But here's their fatal flaw. Lies require maintenance. Truth does not. A liar has to constantly juggle their stories. They have to keep score, remember who knows what, plug every hole, and eventually they slip, because no one can outrun reality forever. Stoicism reminds us, actions never lie. So stop being seduced by sweet words. Watch what they do when they think no one is watching. Do their patterns match their promises? If not, call it out. Not for them, but for you. Your peace depends on clarity. Your power lies in awareness. And when someone consistently shows you they have no respect for truth, understand this. You're not dealing with confusion. You're dealing with corruption. You don't fix that. You leave that. Because self-respect means refusing to co-sign someone else's delusion. Don't fear being alone with your values. Fear being surrounded by people who spit on them and expect you to stay silent. Walking away from the dishonest isn't weakness. It's wisdom. They may call you cold, heartless, dramatic. Let them. That's what liars say when they lose control. Stand your ground. Refuse to shrink. Let your clarity be louder than their chaos. You owe no loyalty to manipulation, only to truth. Number 4, lack of empathy. Empathy is not a soft virtue. It is a fierce and radical act of connection. It requires strength to pause your own inner noise and truly tune into someone else's world. Seneca knew this well when he said that we are not born for ourselves alone. We are wired to feel with others, to support each other through both joy and adversity. Yet in some people, this vital thread is chillingly absent. For the malicious, empathy is a hindrance. To care deeply is to be vulnerable, and they have no interest in vulnerability. They view others not as fellow travelers on the journey of life, but as stepping stones toward their own ambitions. Your heartbreak, your excitement, to them, it's all background noise unless it serves their narrative. Think about the moments you've opened up to someone, hoping they'd meet you with warmth, and instead they turned it into a monologue about themselves. You weren't heard. You were dismissed. This isn't just social clumsiness. It's a warning flare. It signals a lack of emotional investment, a refusal to share the burden of your humanity. This detachment isn't occasional. It's systematic. These individuals do not misstep. They choose not to connect. They dodge accountability, deflect conversations, and maintain a safe distance from anyone else's reality. And sometimes their indifference isn't neutral. It's cruel. They might even smirk when your world falls apart. Empathy is not decorative. It's the foundation of authentic relationships. Without it, we are left with hollow exchanges, shallow bonds, and a soul-deep loneliness. When someone refuses to feel with you, what they're really saying is, you don't matter enough. And beware, the most dangerous lack empathy strategically. They know how to mimic concern, say the right things, even cry on cue, but their compassion is always transactional, always with strings attached. The moment you're no longer useful, they vanish, or worse, turn on you. Marcus Aurelius said it best, no more arguing about what a good man should be one. And being one starts with choosing empathy, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. If you are met with coldness, don't try to melt it. Protect your fire, set clear boundaries, and recognize emotional detachment for what it is, a sign to walk away. Your energy is sacred, invested in those who lift you up, who listen without interrupting, who lean in when the world leans hard on you. Surround yourself with people who don't just hear your story, but feel it. Because empathy is not weakness. It is your armor. It is the evidence of a soul fully awake. And in a world that often forgets how to care, your ability to love deeply is nothing short of defiance. Number 5, the hunger for control. For the malicious, control is more than a strategy. It's their very oxygen. It's not enough for them to simply influence your decisions. They want to dominate every aspect of your life. From the relationships you build to the thoughts you entertain, they crave power over you, convinced that your submission is their pathway to dominance. Marcus Aurelius understood the weight of true power when he said that your mind is your realm, governed not by the chaos of the world, but by your inner strength. When you take full command of your mind, you unlock the gateway to freedom. Yet this is exactly what the toxic seek to strip from you. Their deepest desire is to invade your mental space, to control your thoughts and feelings, because in their eyes, if they control your mind, they control everything. I once crossed paths with someone who wore the mask of kindness, someone who seemed wise, even generous with their advice. At first, it felt like genuine support, a guiding hand. But as time passed, cracks began to show in their demeanor. They slipped in subtle digs, questioning my decisions and making me second-guess myself. Every time I sought independence, they made it seem like I was making a mistake, convinced me I wasn't enough, that I needed their approval. When I was presented with a major opportunity, they suggested I wasn't cut out for it, pushing me aside as if I lacked the ability to lead. It didn't take long for me to realize they weren't guiding me. They were pulling the strings, ensuring I stayed within their web of control. People like this aren't satisfied with just influencing your actions. They seek to invade your very mind, bending your thoughts to align with their agenda. They'll use tactics of guilt, manipulation, or even feigned affection to hook you into a cycle of dependence. They don't care about your growth. Their only mission is to keep you small, keep you beneath them, and keep you needing them. Gradually, you begin to lose yourself. You doubt your instincts, question your choices, and weaken your own inner compass. Their words infiltrate your thoughts until your confidence is chipped away piece by piece, and all that remains is a fractured version of your true self. Epictetus nailed the essence of freedom when he said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and that true freedom is achieved when we refuse to be controlled by the forces outside our influence." Those who seek control over your mind will fight to keep you chained, but they cannot steal your autonomy unless you surrender it to them. You have the power to break free from their grip. The question is simple: does this align with my values? Ask yourself that every time someone tries to influence your decisions, and let it be your North Star in navigating through the noise. Your autonomy is your weapon, and it is not for anyone to seize. Marcus Aurelius also reminded us that our thoughts shape the quality of our lives. Don't let anyone bend your reality to fit their mold. Don't let their insecurities become your burdens. Protect your mind. Your thoughts are the birthplace of your actions and the foundation of your freedom. The truly supportive people in your life will never try to control you. Instead, they will encourage you to stand tall, make your own choices, and grow in the direction you're meant to go. They won't weaken you, they'll empower you. And in doing so, they will help you reclaim the strength that is rightfully yours. Stand tall, hold your ground, and let your mind be your guide. You are free, you are in control. Number 6, blame games and deflection. Manipulators thrive in chaos. They know that when trust outweighs judgment, they can slip into your life unnoticed and begin to twist the narrative. Seneca observed that most people value trust over the ability to see through deception, and this weakness is exactly what the cunning use to their advantage. They don't own their mistakes. They don't apologize. They don't learn. Instead, they turn every failure into someone else's fault and weaponize your own trust to escape accountability. Blame is a powerful tool in the hands of the malicious, and they wield it with precision. When things go wrong, they won't take a moment to reflect. No, they'll craft an elaborate story, casting themselves as innocent, misunderstood victims of circumstance. The weight of every mistake? It's yours, not theirs. They will manipulate the situation with such finesse, you'll find yourself questioning your own actions, doubting your own judgment, and wondering if you're the one in the wrong. As Seneca pointed out, the truth stands firm without justification, while lies always require elaborate stories to sustain them. Truth doesn't need a defense. The liar's words, however, are a fortress built on quicksand. It doesn't take long to realize that someone who constantly deflects and shifts blame is not only avoiding responsibility, they are actively trying to distort your perception of reality. I've seen this play out before, intimately. A colleague once pulled me into a crucial project. Everything was going smoothly until it didn't. When the situation began to unravel, I noticed something disturbing. Instead of confronting their own missteps, my colleague pointed the finger at me. "It's your organizational skills," they said, cleverly wrapping their accusation in what seemed like constructive criticism. Slowly it worked. I started to doubt myself, as if I were the problem. What I didn't realize at the time was that they weren't trying to help me. They were trying to keep me small, to keep me under their control. These individuals know how to manipulate emotions, how to plant seeds of guilt that grow into full-blown self-doubt. They excel at constructing false narratives, stories in which they are always the innocent party, and you somehow become the villain. This is how they manipulate not only your actions, but your very sense of self. It's emotional warfare. But here's the truth they don't want you to discover. You don't have to play their game. You are not a pawn in their hands unless you choose to be. You can stand tall in your truth, unwavering. When someone tries to blame you for their mistakes, refuse to let them. Own your actions, but never allow them to hijack your story. And let's get something straight. You are the authority on your life. They don't get to rewrite your narrative or twist your reality. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he reminded us that it's not the external world that defines us, but our reaction to it. When you face blame, remember, your response is the only part of the equation that you control. Hold yourself accountable, yes, but never let someone else's blame overshadow your integrity. It's time to draw a line. create boundaries. When these manipulators come at you with their blame games, be ready to shut it down with a simple, unwavering no. Their lies may be elaborate, but the truth is always simpler, and it will always win. So stand tall in your own truth. Recognize these games for what they are, and attempt to strip you of your power. Don't let them. You are not here to be their scapegoat. You are here to own your story, to shape your life with purpose, and to never let anyone else steal your peace. Number 7, the pleasure of pain. Have you ever met someone who seems to live for the suffering of others? It's a chilling thing to witness, yet it's more common than we'd like to admit. They don't just passively observe others' struggles, they revel in them. It's like they feed off the discomfort of others, and it gives them a twisted sense of power. The more pain they see, the more alive they feel. This isn't just a passing moment of negativity. It's a deep-rooted hunger, the kind of hunger that makes them crave the failure, humiliation, and downfall of others, because in their minds it elevates them. It's not about winning or achieving something, it's about bringing others down to make themselves feel superior. They get a high from seeing you stumble. They feel bigger, better, and stronger when you're knocked down. Epictetus told us to associate with those who make you better. Yet these individuals do the exact opposite. They don't care about your growth, your journey, or your success. What excites them is watching you falter because it feeds their fragile ego. They're not just indifferent to your pain, they need it to feel alive. This dark pleasure in suffering doesn't always appear as obvious cruelty. It starts small. Maybe it's that sarcastic remark after someone else fails. Maybe it's the quiet chuckle at someone's expense. A slight smirk when things go wrong. These little signs are often overlooked, but they speak volumes about the person behind the smile. They're not just passive observers. They are enthusiasts of your pain. I once had a friend who was a connoisseur of other people's misfortune. She'd recount someone's mistake with such a twisted glee, you'd wonder if she had a stake in their failure. When a colleague was called out in front of the whole office, she didn't offer sympathy. No, she reveled in it. She was addicted to the drama, as if someone else's downfall was the ultimate entertainment. Over time, I realized she wasn't just indifferent. She was addicted to watching others fall. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than one who never faces adversity." But for these toxic individuals, adversity is the fuel for their happiness. They don't rise to the challenge of life. They feed off the failures of others to fill their empty, insecure hearts. Their sense of superiority comes not from their own accomplishments, but from the humiliations of others. Let's be real. People like this are emotionally bankrupt. Their fleeting satisfaction is just a mask for their profound emptiness. They need others to fail in order to feel like they matter. It's a cheap, hollow pleasure, and one that won't last. So what do? Recognize it. Don't let yourself get dragged into their darkness. Stoic wisdom teaches us that our peace, our self-worth, and our growth are sacred. Don't let anyone steal those by making you the pawn in their twisted game of power. Cut ties with these energy vampires. Stay away from the people who get a kick out of your misfortune. Your journey, your success, your happiness, none of it should depend on the misery of others. Surround yourself with those who celebrate you, not those who tear you down to make themselves feel important. The only people worth keeping in your life are those who encourage you to rise, who want to see you at your best. Those are the people who bring real joy, because true happiness comes from seeing everyone win, not just from seeing someone else lose. Number 8, isolation as a weapon. You know what's truly dangerous? The subtle art of isolation. This isn't just about being physically alone. It's the slow, almost imperceptible process of being emotionally detached from everyone who matters. And here's the kicker. Some people are actively trying to create that isolation in your life. They weaponize it. They know that if they can make you feel alone, uncertain, and disconnected, they've already won. Think about it. We're all designed to thrive on connection. Humans are born to cooperate, to share, to uplift each other. That's where our strength lies. But some individuals, they don't want you to thrive. They want you to falter. They know that once you're isolated, they control you. It's not about loving you, it's about controlling you. And to do that, they need to sever the very ties that give you power. It starts small, almost imperceptible. Maybe it's a comment, subtle yet sinister. Are you sure your family has your best interests at heart? Or, your friends never seem to appreciate you like I do. At first it seems harmless, maybe even caring. But don't be fooled. This is manipulation. They aren't looking out for your best interests. They're slowly replacing your emotional anchors with their own, making you feel like you need them for validation, for support. And that's exactly what they want. I've seen this happen firsthand. I had a friend who, at first, seemed incredibly supportive, someone who'd listen, share advice, and understand me. But little by little, she started casting doubt on everyone in my life. Your best friend didn't show up for you, huh? Maybe they don't care as much as you think. Those comments, the little digs, became more frequent, and before I knew it, I was questioning everyone I trusted. What I didn't see was that she was setting up a power play, cut off the ties, create dependency, and that's what these manipulators do. They want to break down your support system. They want you to believe that no one gets you like they do, and the more isolated you become, the more control they have. Isolation is their battleground, and in that space you're vulnerable, questioning your worth and your decisions. Here's what you need to know. Isolation is an illusion of strength. The real power comes from being grounded, surrounded by people who care, who challenge you, and who remind you of who you are when you forget. Don't let anyone strip you of that. The moment you feel your connection to others start to fray, act. Trust your gut. Reach out. Don't buy into the lies that you're better off alone or that no one has your back. This is the essence of what Stoicism teaches us. We are not meant to live in isolation. We are meant to be part of something greater, a collective that uplifts each other. True resilience comes not from fighting alone, but from standing together. So here's your wake-up call. Protect your circle. Guard your relationships like your life depends on it, because in a sense they do. The moment you allow someone to sow seeds of doubt about those who care for you, you're handing them the keys to your peace, your confidence, and your future. Don't let anyone isolate you. Reconnect with those who matter, lean on them, and keep rising together. Number 9, jealousy in disguise. Jealousy wears a mask, and its disguise is more dangerous than you think. On the surface, it might look like praise. It might even sound like advice. But underneath, it's a predator lurking, waiting to tear you down, not by slashing, but by subtly chipping away. And here's the thing. You might not even see it coming. Imagine this. You've just crushed it. You've achieved something that's been a long time coming, something you're incredibly proud of. And then that person says, "Oh, that's great, but maybe next time you should aim higher. Push yourself harder." At first you think it's just feedback. Helpful, right? Wrong. It's a subtle hit to your confidence. A way to make you feel like it's still not enough. This isn't advice. This is covert sabotage. They want you to feel small because their ego can't stand to see you winning. They want you questioning your every move, doubting your ability to succeed, even when you've already proven yourself. And they don't stop there. They wrap it all up in a bow of concern, care, or worse, help. But let's be clear, anyone who can't celebrate your victory without feeling threatened by it is not someone who has your best interests at heart. They're there to knock you down a peg, making you question your value just so they can feel better about themselves. Here's the truth. Their insecurity is not your responsibility. Their jealousy, that's their baggage to carry. Don't let them project their doubts onto your achievements. The world doesn't need more people telling you what you can't do. It needs people who push you to reach even higher, people who will never undermine your victories just because they don't know how to celebrate their own. When you hear those well-meaning comments, pay attention. They're not there to help. They're there to control. They're there to weaken your resolve, to plant seeds of doubt so you shrink back into the shadows and stop shining so brightly. Don't let that happen. When someone tries to tear you down, stand taller. When they try to suppress your light, shine brighter. Because here's the reality. You're not here to make others feel comfortable with their mediocrity. You're here to own your greatness and you deserve to stand in it without apology. So stop letting disguised jealousy play in your head. Call it out. Recognize it for what it is, and keep moving forward with relentless confidence. It's your time to rise. Don't let anyone make you second-guess your worth. Number 10, the unrepentant heart. There's a kind of person who walks through the fire of their own destruction and never once looks back to see who they burned along the way. They don't apologize, they don't reflect, they don't care. That's the unrepentant heart. Hard, cold, and dangerous. You can spot them if you know what to look for. When they hurt someone, they deflect. When they're wrong, they double down. When confronted, they gaslight, manipulate, or disappear altogether. Why? Because accountability feels like a death sentence to their fragile ego, and they'd rather torch every bridge than admit they lit the match. There's no remorse in them, not even a flicker. They hurt, they move on, and they act like nothing happened, while you're left with the pieces. And if you dare confront them, they'll twist the story until you're the villain and they're the misunderstood soul who just wanted peace. Don't expect closure from these people. They'll never give it. Not because they can't, but because they think they're above it. To apologize is to admit fault. To admit fault is to accept imperfection, and their pride would rather see your pain continue than ever face the mirror. But here's the brutal truth. You don't need their apology. You don't need their validation, their remorse, or their sudden realization. What you need is to rise anyway. Let them rot in the lies they tell themselves. You've got healing to do, and you don't need their permission to begin. The unrepentant heart is its own prison. It locks them in a cycle of bitterness, denial, and emotional cowardice. They will never grow, never evolve, never find peace, because peace is impossible when you refuse to own your mess. So what do? You walk. You walk away boldly, and you don't look back. You rebuild your life brick by brick with integrity, resilience, and the kind of self-respect they can't even comprehend. You forgive, not for them, but for you, because dragging around bitterness is just letting them live rent-free in your head. You rise because they wouldn't. You heal because they refused to. You evolve because they stayed stagnant. And most of all, you remember who you are. You are not their victim. You are not the collateral damage of their ego. You are the storm that keeps moving forward. Let their unrepentant heart be their burden. Yours is made for better things. You don't need to tolerate manipulation, envy, or darkness hiding in plain sight. The Stoics taught us that clarity is power, and now you have it. If any of these signs resonated with you, it's not just coincidence, it's confirmation. Trust your instincts, protect your peace, and never apologize for drawing the line. You were not made to shrink, you were made to rise. If this video lit a fire in you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this truth. Stay sharp, stay strong, and never forget, your peace is worth defending. Always.